This is the latest project from the creators of the movie Goodnight Mommy, which looks very interesting and I've been meaning to get to that for years now. But you know how that goes, there's only so much time, so I haven't seen it. Which means I was unfamiliar with their work and didn't really know what to expect from this. But right from the get-go I liked the way this movie was shot. It was rather stylish. It had these long lingering shots and it had a very ominous tone to it. And I expected things to go south, and without giving too much away, they do. They definitely do. Things don't go according to plan in this one, and well, it is a horror movie after all. But it's not a horror movie filled with jump scares, monsters, or a ton of gore or anything like that. Instead, it focuses very much on human psychology and goes for much more of a psychological horror. And the story here follows a family, 2 kids and a dad, who go to spend their Christmas holiday at a lodge. A remote house in the middle of nowhere, and the dad decides to bring his new girlfriend along. Which of course causes some tension, and you know, it's the middle of the winter too. So what you have here is essentially a bit of a cabin fever type story. A group of people stuck in a house together and it starts to get to them. What's real, what's not, are they losing their minds, or perhaps something else is going on? The movie raises a lot of questions, but most of them do get answered by the end of it. And you know, I liked the way the horror and the suspense were executed here. It was fairly subtle, and it never really went overboard with it. It kept it sorta toned down. To the point that it was getting very close to being borderline boring at times. It never quite went there either, to me at least. It managed to stay away from that. So that was good. However, I will say that I feel like the influence of Ari Aster and his recent movies was very strong in this. It shared a fair amount of similarities with Hereditary especially, stylistically speaking. But there's also other similarities like the religious and the cult aspects that make their way into the story here too. Oh, and of course the most obvious one being probably the dollhouse. And yeah, overall I got very similar vibes from this, but I don't think it was done quite as well. But I would still say it was well made and liked the way it was put together. And when it comes to the general story, that's when I'm a little bit on the fence. Because I did sort of like it, but there's just something about how it wrapped it all up that felt a bit, I don't know, it didn't feel like a totally satisfying conclusion to me. But at the same time I didn't hate it, and I even liked certain things about it. I mean, I guess it comes down to the fact that I appreciated what it was going for. But I don't think it quite hit the nail on the head. Something about it just didn't 100% work for me. So yeah, I think this is overall a fairly simple but effective movie that, well, it did enough to stand out and didn't end up feeling generic or boring. But I'm still a little bit undecided on how much I actually liked it personally. It'll have to marinate for a while, I think, which just leaves one question. Would I recommend it? I mean, if you're into horror, I think this is probably worth giving a shot. But if you're not, I don't know, maybe skip it. Or don't, after all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic. And if you'd like, you can also support me on Patreon or PayPal through the links in the description. And as always, I appreciate you and thanks for watching.